Yeah, I'm Tyson Wiens, and so I'm one of the CEOs at Summit right now. Nick and I partner in leading the organization. I spend a lot of time in strategic and process-based areas of the business, working with our team to create systems and processes that make their job easier and more effective and efficient. And so that looks like a variety of things each day still, but that's where most of my focus goes.
That was very vague, but very busy sounding.
So that's good. It's accurate.
So you've been around Summit. Are you the longest tenured employee at Summit right now?
Been there 19 years, so next year will be 20. And
wow.
So doesn't feel that long for a lot of things. We've gone through a lot of different seasons in that 20 years, so it's a long time.
Yeah, so 19 years ago, tell me about Summit then. I mean, you guys probably weren't just working with churches, and what kind of projects, and how big was the team?
Man, I've forgotten so much, but I do know there was 3, maybe 4 of us at times on the Summit team at that point. And so it was kind of a pretty much all hands on deck situations for everything. We all kind of did a little bit of everything at a company that size. And so we were definitely we were majority church work, not only, but we'd do 3 or 4 projects a year, and that was plenty for us that we would do. And then we had done some government work or other entertainment work or even restaurants at the time. But when I started, we had really kind of identified, okay, the church market is where we want to spend our focus, but we just had to work on building up our platform and our pipeline to be able to do that exclusively, which took a while.
20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, what were the kind of the dreams back then? What was the kind of the big project that everybody was like, dude, if we could just nail this client or this type of project?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think we had big vision back then. It was pretty much just do the work that's in front of us. Was a majority of it, honestly. But I think when it was the things that were exciting, audio was definitely exciting. I think line arrays were still kind of they were pretty still rare, especially in an indoor or church environment. You really weren't seeing much for line arrays, and so the big PA, really, it was fine. It was probably the audio consoles, big old honking analog audio consoles were pretty cool, and edge blended projection was a real big deal. That's what the cool kids did.
That's like stacking multiple projectors together?
It's even worse than that. It's trying to put 3 horizontally or 2 horizontally to produce the ultra wide image. And back then everything was still in 4:3 for the most part, and so coming up with this new concept of different pixel formats, but edge blended projectors are probably one of the worst things ever in AV, because they stay edge blended for about 5 minutes and then they look terrible. So but it was the cool thing.
Yeah, it was a good concept. So tell me how you went from employee. I mean, you probably started it as an installer back then, and now you're a co-owner.
Part of just myself as an individual, I'm always trying to take ownership for anything that I'm able to. Treat it like an owner, act like an owner, no matter what the paper says. And finding ways to do that, leaning into personal growth and development continually is the only way that I got here. If I wouldn't have leaned into that, I wouldn't have the ability to lead at this level currently. And so that's a big piece of it. There was also strategic conversations that we started 4, 5, 6, or gosh, it's probably been 6, 7, 8 years ago at this point, to transition ownership from Chris onward to Nick and I, and so that was a plan. We had a loose skeleton of this, of hey, let's try to keep this going, see Summit succeed and grow, and so we tried to figure out how to make that happen then logistically.
What kind of advice would you give anybody that's in your position 10, 15 years ago that's on our team now?
I think it's something that it's kind of coming into focus, if you will, now of something I've done for a long time but never could really put language to is figuring out how to execute on things that have the biggest return on investment, not just dollar-wise, but time-wise or efficiency-wise. So there's a level of not just thinking about if I spend this X amount, one efforts, I return one effort. That's a 1-for-1 return. And so what are the things that if I spend one effort, I get 3 returns on? And not even me as a return, but our team. Where can I find and spend my time and effort to free up our team for success? And so, that combined with a level of delegation gave me margin to continue to grow and take on new things. If an individual doesn't have margin to take on more, they can't grow. Like, that's just pretty common sense. If you're already maximized, you can't add more. And so finding ways to either automate things or delegate things or make them more efficient or just eliminate them because they weren't important gave me the space to continue to develop or take on new things from Chris or different people or departments that allowed me to elevate in my role.
Do you have an example that you could share of this was one of the most impactful things, or just something recent that was here's a great example of what that looks like?
A lot of days, every day I'm looking for those opportunities. Every single day I try to find something I can do once that gives us an infinite type return. If I can automate one step, or if I can answer one question that then informs a future repeated behavior, that's a multiplication on effort. I think as far as trying to clear up space and something I took on, I don't remember the exact time frame. It might have been 2015 per se, 10 to 15 years ago. Part of how we operate as a company is we do lump sum estimating. And so, we give an estimate on the project and, that's a turnkey price. And so that's a really important number for hours and time and travel. And so I really saw a need to have an ability to see, not only our estimates, but also our actuals and compare those and see how they were doing, because that would then inform our future estimates. And so I really started, asking and working with the team if I could lean in and help make our financial reporting and tracking way better. We weren't doing project-based financials at that point. And so really now have built out an incredible dashboard and real-time data system to allow our team to evaluate the estimates they're working on. And then also a tool that we can use, the 400, 500, 600 jobs we've done in the past as context for things we're looking at doing in the future. And so that was something I was never asked to do. And that was something that wasn't in my job description, wasn't my responsibility. But I said, hey, I can help here. I see an opportunity here. And that's still a part of my job today in looking at the executive level finance and forecasting.